mami mamunyi na chi ema mwakwaba ediba XTV eso abono nsia ene eyefia da ene ye bobosum ne de twa tokora wa fempimie ne edunumienu no emu emrason se no nsia bem kase ye de ema o be bibiara wo efrin company mantemu Pokwasi Festus Adum Plaza building mo ensema hudra wo beti enanope bi ene se fifi kweti awono eye kane Mashibejini edima di shomo Ketu South about 1 peso so. But ya toja say aban we wonitima edima Ghana for wonitima kwa na pa say ye economy no so ba bese sano aye ne yi enya de obetimi aye ne eni echina na ensemfofo mo nso no so afọ wono ene hwe esika sem so ne nyam ne kenoforiata wono nso ede ato Ghana for nyina enim se wo mo ye de ombetumi biara se na be ya hyehye ni anamahudo a wo mo etu ewo IMF no nyema wo beji ede atom no ebe ye dia ebe boa wo man mu ni nyinara okopie mu ewa Asante Mantemu a Electricity Company of Ghana ECG wo metimi aso nipa mako du bi mu a wo mo area wo mo kanne no illegal connection na wo mo eye ni nyina ekakasebo ihu a ye di bro nsem ni di edoso edi makoten na mede ama wo no kan me ho fiti se me akopem se sima edwununum bebo apa no nsia ho de wo peti de opahwe no eno kutu na mede bro obapa me visa kosiate enmedin afei kasebo de wo mu ankasa eni Ekane mashebejeni edima adisho mo Ketu South about 1 peso so eyonunyam ni fifi kwete wono ede atoja ese abanwe wo mone homodin abanwe wo mono makra esane se sa wo hwe fiti se won beji abedwa kese omampani na nadedan kwakufu adu eda omano no wo mo ntimi anye bibi biara amfa magana fo tima pa de enyade wo mo wobi edima Ghana fo eprempren wo mo nam ena de wo mo hwe ene se won be break it abreku Ghana fo ye ho akire ye pa na wo mo de sika na sie ena wo mo twen se wo mo de be campaign na wo mo di break it ne wo chim se prempren no ye economy no eyade a atonsum hwi ni wa ye betimi aye ede afa ho nsema wode to dwa no eni
I worry for the future of this country. Why? You know, people look at it simply in terms of what is happening to the economy, the collapse of the economy. People look at it in terms of what is happening in terms of what you call the inability to do what have been promised in education, in health, in infrastructure, and so on. I look at it beyond that.
What do you see?
I see a decadent soul of a country. I see a country whose soul is being bastardized by a group that is simply what I call a very selfish, unpatriotic group who care only about power. Now to think that a leader almost approaching 80 years, in the midst of all this desperation, in the midst of this hopelessness, a future that is bleak not just for our children, but also our children's children, his obsession is that I want to break the AIDS. That tells you this nation is really on the brink of what I call moral collapse. Johnny, I'm just, even though I look younger, I'm actually 55 years
55, that's right.
At my age, I worry about this nation. I think about what can be done to salvage this nation. And if I see a man who is almost 30 years my age, and his consideration is how I can win power, or how my party can win power in the midst of this collapse, in the midst of this calamity that we see as a country, I worry for Ghana. My soul weeps for this country and weeps for this country. Why? I worry for the future of this country. Why? You know, people look at it simply in terms of what is happening to the economy.
And which one so ebisane se wo gidi say IMF ayade ye ho ekwako remubiumu ekwako jibusia ejefi wo mo hoyi ebetimi asesa ne ma ebetimi ama ye economy no asanso ejina ne nanso biuma na eno no wode atoja say anamo papa NPP aban etimi etu ba kope eni IMF a wo mo di ye ekọ esane say sa wo hwe ebra a wo mo ebeji abedwa kasie yi sa abre no na NDC amanyuko no wo mo ekoji IMF ye hye o mase a wo mo ema yeska sa abre no wotum say 2017 2018 no NPP amanyuko no wo mo bo mo di pa etimi di mpuntunyuma hodo no edi ba ni nyina eni IMF a na NDC for ekoji ebeto hodi ma wo mo no na sa abre no kra no mo twa NDC for da pa say wona wo mu ni amemu bo e na wo mo do mo ho etimi ekodura IMF mo na wo kire wo mo say sa abre na wo mo edi IMF agreement nyina etimi ba wiye no eho pepe na yehu say nkrofo we wo mo no ma nkrofo we wo mo nya ade sa abre no e na afi de wo mo huntuma etimi paaye.
You know, if you watch what has happened over the last 6 years well. You'll notice, for instance, the only time they've had any real positive performance were the first 3 years when they came into office, 2017, 18, 19. And watch well, what happened really in that period? That was a period when they actually came and continued the IMF program that they met when they came into office.
Right.
And as soon as they stepped out of the IMF, the trouble started. In fact, the trouble actually had started even in the year 2019. You could see already by 2019, the debt had already ballooned. The debt to GDP was already showing, that we were in danger. The amount of money that we were committing to servicing our debt was showing that we were already getting into trouble. You understand? So clearly the signs were there. And you could see that they were making a special effort to hide the truth. That's why you're hearing things like, for example, in terms of the deficit, they didn't want the deficit to look high, so they hide it and call it below the line. So, for example, things that had to do with, for example, energy sector, things that had to do with the banking sector, they tried to hide it and create the impression that the deficit was not high, but the deficit was high. What you are hiding, thinking you are deceiving the country, was manifesting higher.
Na ni kura mu na wasan so e de ato dwa se Ghana fo NDC fo ye bo ye homodin e won ne mo ye bo mo kokko se dia ekoi NPP amanyoko no mo etimi emboa mo esan se obi a wono wetimi aye mahebedwani frisha mako dumie inso krampo wentimi amfa bi amfa mani mpeso sofo na ono ene babedi mampeni amanyema koye e de amamwana wo kyerem se NPP aben ye Ghana mampeni na na adodan kwakufa do e da wo mano no wo hye Ghana fo boy ndie wo mo ba no bo hye no sei tie ni na so emu ba kompo ni wa wo mutimi eyeye de mu di mo akote bi ene se wasi free SHS na nya no mbo wasi tertiary eyesuapo ahodo no so no wo be ni free na so bisa se ne de free SHS ne kra etise na tertiary no mpo no waboso ana ewe eden de pefe ese wo mo hyebo a wo mo ne so.
I think we should be tracking governance back to what I consider to be the most important thing, which has to do with the trustworthiness of the group that is making the promises. And until we do that, trust me, we're going to continue a merry-go-round where there will be constant disappointment by the populace. And that disappointment largely coming also because the populace themselves are not making enough effort to determine what I call the character and the credibility of those who are making those promises. Johnny, making a promise is an easy thing. Anyone can make a promise. But you must check the track record of those who are making those promises. And for me, to be honest, you don't want to say, we told you so. But in 2012, in fact, even I would say in 2008, in 2012, and ahead of 2016, many of us who had the opportunity to speak told Ghana, check the track record of those who are making the promises they are making. Check their track record properly. Not to be personal, but let's say, for example, a man who in 12 years in parliament was unable to deliver potable water to his people. That man can tell you that he can turn Ghana in 18 months, and anyone will believe him. A man who in desperation in 2008 was, people do not recall, did not just promise free SHS in 2008. He actually hinted at even free tertiary education in 2008. It tells you that this is a man who will do anything simply for power. He will promise anything for power. I think we should be tracking governance back.
Because sansem twitwi anaposen komo twitwi nyina ekoso o ye sister station 334 yen so ya monitor ya di be mawo na edan no oswafo no ene hwe sika sem so woni nsentwefo ehia na wodi nsem bi eto dwa wo kirem se IMF ayede yentuma akwakobo manu no amafo bi ekirem se IMF ebe die nhihye ya hodo flagship programs ahodo aban no eye no ba betwem wo ka che Ghana fo enyina ese enya dia sade no ebesi wo mo ehwe se wo mo di hihye pa ebetimi ato apono so hihye pa ebe ma Ghana fo nyina ye ho ebetimi ahenhan ye eno ene hihye wo kwakoye hihye pa ebe ma yesi kasema enjina ne nan so wi ebe san so ejina ne nan so bi hihye pa edi bambo ebe ma Ghana fo.
Having a sustainable debt path is a prerequisite for the IMF program. Therefore, the IMF, World Bank, and the Ghana team are currently undertaking a debt sustainability analysis to inform the program negotiations. In addition, the IMF and government team are working to update the medium-term macro-fiscal framework to inform IMF program design. Also, the government team and the IMF team are discussing policy measures and structural reforms, proposing an economic program aimed at addressing the economic challenges facing the country towards restoring and sustaining macroeconomic stability, fiscal and debt sustainability, as well as promoting durable and inclusive growth and social protection.
The finance minister added that no agreement has been reached with the fund on the parameters of debt operation.
We have not reached any agreement with the fund on the parameters of any debt operation, as we are in the process of completing the debt sustainability analysis. Government shall continue to actively engage all stakeholders in a clear and transparent manner as we seek to fast-track the IMF negotiation process. Ghana needs a viable domestic financial system to support its development program, especially in these 3 years with limited access to international capital markets. Therefore, everything must and will be done to protect our financial sector, and there must be room for a win-win conversation through extensive stakeholder engagement with both our domestic and external investors. Ghana has always had a collaborative approach with its partners, and we shall, I'm confident, come out of an historic arrangement.
Futu Sanfo, Nyam Niken, Ofori Ata, and Awakasano, na Oswafo, no, and a share Bambo, Hon Semso, National Security Minister. Nyam Abet Kandapa, when also Edia to just say, Abai too good for a to trough for a yadia, one more air dream, papa, Nitito Pa, Obepimo, West Africa countries, no one more air dream, Ochuma, Busum, a yes, I feel we are Busuma, Kumakumi, and Sampeno, just say attacker, et me a course. No, Mako 346 attacks, and it's me a course. So, no mono, or object more, nine crom, 49%, and no ABPMO or West Africa countries. Or my Ghana, you can be the way and one quack here, essay, Ghana for, it was say it me, a home, it's me there, who so papa, near Yashi, who be beer, can be 19 why.
Stability. Data from the latest Global Terrorism Index indicates that the Sahel and West African regions have now become the epicenters of terrorism and violent extremism, with 4 countries in the region featuring in the top 10 countries in the world most impacted by terrorism. And it is worth noting that the first quarter of 2022 saw 346 terrorist attacks in Africa, and 49% of that occurred in West Africa. And in August 2022 alone, West Africa recorded a total of 76 terrorist attacks, and it resulted in 197 deaths and 22 injuries. The rapid spread of terrorism and violent extremism in the West African region is largely driven by the quest of some terrorist groups to take control of resource-rich areas in the sub-region and gain access to the Gulf of Guinea. And they want to do these 2 things so that they can perpetrate illegal mining and piracy, respectively. And the ultimate aim for them is to generate funds to support their activities.
Fakasiebono Kopiemo Ewo Electricity Company of Ghana ECG Womodia Tuja SA illegal connection eye anyame bia e ha omo papa e wo mo dwuma na womo ye no na nititru pa wo mse kasem ade a ha wo papa na womo echum se wo sensen na wo hwe nyema hodo a ha wo adwuma na ma wo ntimi nye adwuma ye ma wo boka pa no ye wona wo wia kane no contribute 20% or how much more adruno na etimi contribute ama company no wo bre ankasa na management no a wia taso so wo behwe na sankrofo yi a wo mo wia wo mo kane wona wo faculty kwan so enjo wo mo kane wo mo entua ka no won behwe se won boditi wo mu nyina so ewo oman Ghana mo na enomo na engineer Fred Kobna Bediakon wono eye ECG special task force manager ewa Santimantemo wo sha se woni central for ekasa na mo hodo wo mu etu a sankrofo we ye de betu wo ase.
Illegal connection is really affecting our operations. Now, in terms of expansion and operating our system, we need a lot of money to be able to, do maintenance and also expand towards new customers that we may find. The cost of illegal connections and theft is about 20% of the total losses that the company faces. And this is very, very serious and is affecting our operations because we do not have the requisite funds to be able to maintain and operate our system. Now, this is coming from the moratorium that our MD gave in for us to be able to bring in all the illegal meters or unregistered meters that we have in our system, so that we'll know the power that our customers are consuming, and then we'll also be able to rake in the revenue that is required.
No more Modia to just says, Okopiemo, our Santimantimo, Camia said, one no more far by Boniso, Eddie enjoy a year ECG for Mocaniano, a yadia a como papa, ain't no ECG for ni apples for no, waiting Yako Dijuma, Ewo, Atrima, and what be Jamen Sino Emo. Na enomo and omutimi so nipa ma could do emo. Na be ya would do a womutimi echo yes operation, a ye a boakwa. Menshia mankro tanoso eho eni bia hudo bia wo mo ekoyesa exercise a wo motimi eso nipa maako eduyi emo na no ena openi Fred hremu say die wo mo ehwe se sankrofo ya chi wo mo no wo mo de won be court na mra na o medi se na say fata wasan so de kokobo e de ama obi biara mensin ni mountain biara wo say sa wonnim say wo wia ECG for mo kan ye de gyan esan say na wo twe ni busuma yesimu e yade a wo mo e ba mo so.
And following a disconnection exercise on Wednesday and Thursday, 10 recalcitrant customers were picked up. That was just a follow-up or a mop-up of the activities of the days before. These customers had reconnected themselves after they had been disconnected. So we had the help of Ghana Police to go in and with 8 different teams to go in and arrest these recalcitrant customers. In together, putting things into perspective, the activities from Wednesday and Thursday, we were able to disconnect as many as 150 people using a team of 8 different groups to do this particular exercise. I'd like to advise the general public that it's our civic duty as people of Ghana to be able to pay for the services that we use. So this exercise is actually going to continue to the end of the month. And so please watch out if you are consuming power and not paying for it, especially those who have reconnected themselves after.
Not just engineer Fred and Waka Sano, Yantua Casiano Sonia from Copimo, a war in San Fufromo, a cane, ye can't a beauticians, and I wanna. When we are more footy, when we are more renew or nice uncrofono, a cannon sana in Nema Eti and say, dear, a idea waiting me up when we papa and print dear, a Yahuda, when we are sanny may say, oh, Upasa Okoya with tea, Upasa Okoya or nine Upasa Okoya sunny makeup near dear. Now we're book appointment and Yadia Uka. When sa ebeti mi aka no mo won krofo bi ani de wo be kono we book appointment dey nti wo duru ya na say ya sha ase eye e de ma we e da ne dey say no se na wiase no e kono obia adane ne ho sa pepepa boa ma wo madwuma no so etimi edimo na mpem bebre no sa nkrofo no sebe eya na wo mo echem se wo mo humesua ne nyema hodo bi enta enko enim na so se die wo mo adwo mo ho no best to aso akọ school akọ enim wo mo eye se na be ya wo madwuma no ebetimi edimu na enkokofa wo ha bia emfamro na friends no emfa so hodo wo mo hia no wo mo nsa etimi aka enti no ye wo program bia eno eye Ghana Beauty Awards na eno no wo mo bo mo humodin abenidom nyinara wona wo mo eye tire ni sa nkrofo yi ye bo mo humodin e de kyerɛkyerɛ emma wo mo na wo ma kyerɛ mo ni mahudo bia wo se wo mo ho na kyerɛ wo metimi e de aye adwuma na etimi abo mo se na be ya se na wiase na etimi akwakodan no wo mo so etimi e de aye ne pepepe na eno no wo mo ato ni din Beauty and Entrepreneurship Summit na no ekoso ewo Kumasi Asante Mantemo na eno mo no impanifo bia wo mo ekosa program yase eye a lawyer for ni a judges for bankers CEOs eni onkrofo hudo bia wo mo so mo ye adwuma ewo etire na afens no se ebema amafo ho aye fe makeup ni adade no wo mo ekobi ma me ba kwa wo no eye CEO wono so ebebi a wodi nkyerehwe se ede ema wo mo.
Most of the times our beauty industry, they don't really understand the work ethics, especially in this era, because there's new things, new trends, new business ideas, you need to educate yourself with the beauty industry, because things are happening every time. You need to learn, and also with the contracts you have to know where to sign and where not to sign, so that your clients are happy, you are happy, you don't put yourself in any tight corner that would make you have to go to court or anything. So we are also trying to put regulatory bodies in place, so that at the end of the day, whether you go to a corner store or a place where you are not likely to be, the standards are the same. We have to try and then break into that market, so that when the therapist also knows that anybody, all walks of life, can walk into my space to do their hair or nails. There are certain quality products that they have to use depending on your status, wherever you are. You can also be able to produce something right.
Na enwechi hairdresser CB ni beautician CB a wo mo ba sancheche yase no wo mo so ni central for ekasa ya wo mo kire nyema hudu bia wo mo ebesua ye
no kwasemni ye nimbi dada batene de aye match because ye no cosmetologist no ana edru baby a ye nimpo se lawyers ni bankers no ekeka ye dwuma no esa dana esuro ane ehu say education no anya fa ninti no ye nim se bibi ni na de call lawyer hokra ehu bi ananse die nti na me ye madwuma na wo se me call bank na me di sika ko sie bi ananse die nti na me ye madwuma na wo se me bre me ho ase ma me customer ana me client ye wo a profile booker ye if you record ye nema wo mi say client ba e be record na senia se yinya appointment kese e bi a wedding na baby sana ye be book na ya hwe se in case se dwumede na ye bi na amaso a nya ye be ye na se si am ye hu se wo se bibia ye no on paper se ne ba na so bi ba na se be ye gidigidi a ye kan say nti say nso na esiti nti wa ye say de ane na ma ye free no kwasemni
adishimai makasebo no esi meda wasise onya bre eni adaje na wo hwe ye memfa sedam fama chichi beauty parlor se bra no wonse se utri ne ho emfama bra no wonye makeup emfama weekend programs ahodo no ene bekoso engagement outdoor any programs ahodo bebre ene betimi akoso hia se wo hu betimi ayefe papa nti no ani chichi beauty parlor frɛ no e was 0547254078 0547254078 sanso ena yet question so se bra no pom African we fe dinner we party we wedding gam ni nyina opam ni nyina bi e wo ho wo pese osua sa ne nyina pam so wa ye krado so obechro frayet it was 0242389851 0242389851 851 Jojina camera na chimame DJYX masa kopi mu MC ahonso do twa me tu mu low Bismarck and shipping team executive producers no na just appointment offense no opening summit to ga me making kind ma wo oba pa me visa ko siata me sorry so magudi mu nsem de opeti de opahwe no me nua be my microphone wi ata me say what Friday edition what dey blow mo fidie no and here me do asi e mo any share